Welcome to the cleanse class.
Thank you, Becca, for joining us and for going over these cleanse and nourish protocols.
Absolutely, one of my favorite topics to talk about.
Well, and I know that a lot of people are trying to figure out how to clean out their body, what they need to do. I love the fact that Country Doctor has a very simple approach to health issues. And
Mm-hmm.
if somebody's not able to work with a naturopath, or a health coach or a nutrition, whatever, if they can't work with a practitioner, that you guys have a program set up specifically to improve somebody's health from home. And I know that this doesn't address like all the nitty gritty details, but I mean, I've noticed like people who just do cleanses usually see about a 70% improvement in their health just by doing cleanses. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, what we found is that obviously, a hands-on evaluation is always kind of a number one. If you are able to do that, love it. But what we find is that the one thing that most people have in common is an overload of toxicity and nutritional deficiencies. And so, what cleansing does, which is really awesome, is it's so simple. It's just about reducing and clearing that toxicity that is built up in the body, right? And then nutritionally supporting the person. And we kind of see the same thing somewhere between 70 and 80% of people's kind of main concerns or health concerns that they're dealing with, symptoms that they're struggling with tend to kind of go away just when the body is properly detoxified and then nutritionally supported. And so that's where kind of the cleansing protocols come in, is that they're for almost, I say almost anyone. One of the only times we don't recommend cleansing is when you're pregnant, but outside of that, they're pretty much for everybody, and everybody can benefit from them because virtually every person walking around has an overload of toxicity.
Now, what are some of the signs or concerns that somebody would experience and to know that they need to have to do a cleanse and nourish protocol?
So there's so many different things, but I would start off with just some of the common ones that we hear the most are going to be low energy, extreme fatigue, bloating, gas, food cravings can be one. Constipation is a definite sign that there definitely needs to be cleansing there. Maybe some mood swings or skin issues. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on. But definitely, those are just kind of some of the most common ones that we hear about that typically can be helped with properly cleansing.
I want to share with you, I'm currently doing a regular parasite cleanse.
Yeah.
And right here on both of my thumbs, it
Uh-huh.
gets real crocodile skin very quickly. And that's when I know that my liver's getting congested, and which explain, because I'm trying to eliminate parasites. So where are they going to go? To the elimination organs. And so
Right.
it's very interesting for me. It used to happen to me a lot when I was younger, and I always blamed it on the weather, not drinking enough water or whatever. And then what I found is when this starts to happen, if I do a liver cleanse, it'll go away in a matter of days.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So now you just kind of know that's a sign for me that I need to do a liver cleanse.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why is it so important that we clean out our body?
Yeah, well, kind of like we talked about, right? That toxic buildup is typically what leads to this, kind of manifestation of these different symptoms that are not desirable for people. But I also love to use the example of our car, right? Because most people or almost everybody gets their oil changed in their car, right? And then, of course, we have different services, right? We got to clean out filters. Maybe we got to have the transmission flushed, right? There's these different things that we do with our car. And the reason we do that is because we want our car to run well and we want it to run, for a long time and perform well, right? And last as long as possible. So why would we not take a similar approach to our bodies, right? Do we have our bodies on a similar schedule of, service, right? And taking care of it. We expect it to live 100 years and be full of energy, but yet we, aren't treating it the way we treat our own cars, right? If that makes sense. So I always like to use that example. What are your thoughts on that? I'm guessing you get oil changes in your car.
Well, of course I do. I mean, I'm always doing regular maintenance.
Yeah.
I just know, like, I'm just coming from like the point of I'm always doing cleanses just because I always feel so much better.
Yeah.
I'm not the type that just stops because, oh, I did a round of cleanses, I'm good to go. I actually continue to do it because each time I do better and better. It's like every intestinal cleanse. It's really funny with my clients. Everyone loves the intestinal cleanse. I've never had anybody
Mm-hmm.
be disappointed after they did an intestinal cleanse. I think it's probably makes the biggest impact overall on somebody. But I had a client just ask me the other day, and she was like, "So is it the same next time I do it?" And I said, "No, it's not as much, but I still notice a difference." Like
Right.
it's been, I mean, I don't what it's been 4 or 5 years. I don't know how long I've been doing this calendar of cleanses, this specific one, but it's been like
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years, and I mean, I look forward to it every few months. Sometimes I even do it every 2 months if I feel the need. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it always makes a huge difference for me and just the way I am. I never realized how toxic I was though, and the fact that I'm still having to eliminate some of those toxins because we can only get rid of so many, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I
do you
feel
guys
like
ever get complaints on the intestinal cleanse ever?
no, I mean, if someone doesn't complete, like if they stop and don't actually finish it, some people might have to do it more than once, depending on how much of a toxic buildup there is, right? But I feel like you just covered a really big health myth, which is that we should only work on our health when we don't feel well or when we don't feel well, right? And so what you're talking about is that you still do a cleanse even though you're feeling good, right? Because you know that your body needs that regular maintenance on itself, right? And so by cleansing, even when you're feeling good, you stay in this proactive place with your health, right? So that you don't actually let yourself get to that point of not feeling good because you're always taking care of the body. So I wanted to point that out because I felt like you covered like a really big health myth
Oh
with that.
yeah. I mean, the people think that the minute their symptoms are gone, they're healthy. And what they realize is they've just reduced their stress on their body
Mm-hmm,
and they actually haven't addressed the problem, which is why, like, we tell our clients it's 1 to 3 years to get well. You're
mm-hmm.
going to probably be symptom free in 3 to 6 months, but that's when the body's no longer in, like, I don't know, survival mode. And
Yeah,
it's
that's a
actually
good way.
working on
Yeah.
rebuilding and repairing. So I'm constantly cleansing because number one, I went down in the hole when I first started seeing Dan. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
I was absolutely miserable. Everyone was like, "Oh, you look fine," but I just wanted to die. I'm not gonna lie. I just was
Yeah.
miserable, and so I never want to go back down there. So I do a lot of maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
prevention, whatever you want to call it, so it never
You're
happens to me
proactive.
again.
Yeah. 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 You're proactive with it.
And that's why I love your guys' program because it's set up on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even need to think, really. You
Mm-hmm.
just need to do it. I mean, if somebody's not wanting to do a program, this is going to make a big difference.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Like I said, for almost anybody. And it's very simple. And we also have the calendar of cleanses. So, once people kind of get comfortable with it, right, they get through the cleanses, then I love how you do it as well, because you have kind of a blank calendar where they can add in where it's convenient for them. We have it pre planned throughout the year for you. So you can just plug it into your calendar. So you can kind of go either way with it, right? You can either just plug in what's already on the calendar of cleanses for the year, or you can follow your kind of system of just plug in, right? Where it's convenient for you, but scheduling that just like you schedule any other appointment, right? Any doctor's appointment, any car, the car services, like we schedule all of these things So let's get in the habit of scheduling them for our health too, right?
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Because
Yeah.
you guys don't do just like this an entire body cleanse, it's individual. Sometimes we're working on maybe a body system or we're working on an organ. And why do you guys have it set up that way?
So the series of cleanses is really kind of inspired from two different places, Dr. Christopher and Dr. Bernard Jensen. And the reason we have it set up this way is because if we go in and we cleanse the entire body all at once, chances are the body's probably going to get overwhelmed and your day-to-day activities are going to be interrupted. I know I've heard of other people. I don't know a lot about, many other cleanses, but I've heard of people doing these full body cleanses and nothing really happens. So then I'm always curious, like, did the body actually get cleansed? And so that's one thing, is that we are truly going in and cleansing and detoxifying the body. What I love about herbs is that they restore, rebuild, and repair at the same time that they're allowing the body to kind of detoxify and let go of these toxicities that have been built up. So first and foremost, we would overwhelm the body if we did all of them all at once. It would be too much. We start off with the intestinal cleanse. I have a lot of people that say, well, I poop every day, so I'll just skip to the next cleanse. But we start off with the intestinal cleanse for everyone because we have to make sure that that elimination channel is it's clear, it's clean, right? It's eliminating very effectively before we go moving toxicity out of other organs or systems. Because what can happen is the toxins can actually recirculate in the system, thus making the person feel worse. So if we did all of the cleanses at once and that, the intestinal wasn't eliminating effectively, it would most likely just recirculate toxins and make the person actually feel worse, not better. And so this is all by design to help people eliminate, effectively and have it not really interrupt their day-to-day life. So we have them do each organ or system individually, mostly because we don't want them overwhelmed.
And I want to share something. When I first opened my clinic, I had a client who had told me she was very regular, and I was recognizing symptoms of some pretty severe bowel toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually just told her to go home and eat a spoonful of like sesame seeds and to let me know when she saw it come out the other end. And it was almost 2 weeks. But she was having, by the way, 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. So she thought she was effectively detoxifying or eliminating. But in reality, those 2 weeks worth of, garbage was just sitting in her intestines getting reabsorbed into the body.
Yes, that's a really good example. We've had similar ones at the clinic as well, where it's a very common thing. I think one of my favorite stories that Dan tells is, hopefully I get this right, but the woman was saying she was kind of resistant to do an intestinal cleanse, said, oh no, I eliminate really good every day, so I think I'm really good in that area. He's like, just humor me, take this, let me know, let me know, let's just see what happens. Well, she actually wound up eliminating part of a crayon. And so she's kind of like, why would I eliminate a crayon? He's like, I don't know. Have you eaten any crayons lately? And she's like, no. And so the only logical explanation would be that she potentially ate that as a child, right? Because children do this. And that it's been stuck in there for that long, right? Because that's just, we can have 20 pounds, we could have 5 pounds, we could have 20 pounds, who knows, right? We can't, it's hard to determine. But on average, people have somewhere between 5 to 20 pounds of gunk stuck in that, very, very long piping. And so that's kind of one of my favorite stories because, where did the crayon come from? Well, I don't know. Did you eat any crayons lately?
Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. So what do we want to do as we're doing these body cleanses, because we're doing cleanse and nourish, right? So as we're cleaning, what are the nutritional requirements that would be best for us to do while we're doing the cleaning?
So we don't have like a set requirement for nutrition, but we do have several resources available for individuals that are going through the cleanse. I always kind of like to educate clients on, the fact that we're working and clearing toxicity out of the body. So let's not contribute more to that as much as possible, right? So if we can eliminate the processed foods, the fast foods, these foods that are loaded with chemicals that are going to add more toxicity to the body, right? So as much as we can eliminate those things, that's a really good place to start. We've had some people where they do the phase 1 diet and they kind of follow that throughout their cleanses. It can be a good kind of candida cleanup tool as well, right? It's part of our candida recommendations. We have a good foods list that we recommend to people. We have many recipes available. So we don't have like a set requirement, but we have several resources that they can plug into just as part of that cleanse to kind of help them eat as, a little cleaner if possible. Just so we're not adding to the toxicity. But we don't have the set requirements because again, we don't want to overwhelm the body with too many changes at once, right? So I wouldn't encourage people to do like to expect themselves to do a 180 on their diet. I would recommend, start off with cutting out those processed foods, those fast foods. What are alternatives you can replace them with? If they haven't plugged into a nutrition class, that's a really good place to start. I know you offer that. We have them virtually as well. Looking at other choices where they can add smoothies in and add, salads, things like that to really just help support the body nutritionally and not add to that toxicity.
Now, what
What
about
about
superfood?
superfood? So part of the cleanses is doing a superfood smoothie. So I guess that is, sorry, I should clarify, that is one of the requirements is the superfood smoothie, which is superfood is really so nutrient dense with the super greens that are loaded in there that it is kind of the nourishing part of the cleanse, right? That's where we nutritionally are supporting the body. And so that is part of the requirements, but I always like to kind of cover too that, what you eat the rest of the day, you want to pay attention to that as well. And we have several smoothie recipes they can plug into also.
Now, I have a question for you. Would you recommend that the person does a smoothie with like greens and fruits and things like that, or just mixing it with water and just drinking it that way? What's your favorite way to drink your
That's a
superfood smoothie?
That is a great, great question. No, I recommend putting it in a like in making an actual smoothie with fruits and maybe some almond milk, coconut milk. If you add juice, I would, do like half juice, half water. Like I said, plug into the recipes because they'll help with that as well. My favorite way, what I made this morning was a blueberry one, and I will put typically like a half a beet in mine as well. So I make like a beet and blueberries with some spinach and superfood. I am one where I'll just mix it with water. And but my kids are definitely we have to have almond milk or a little juice in there to have it really taste what they desire, right? And of course, you can do yogurt as well if you want to make it a little thicker and more on that really smoothie side of it versus shake side of it. I would look at there's unsweetened coconut and almond milk yogurt. If you go with just a traditional yogurt, I would really watch the sugar content because most yogurts are loaded with sugar to make them taste good. But I don't recommend doing the smoothie. I don't recommend the superfood by itself because it doesn't have a bunch of added stuff to make it taste good. It is truly just super greens. It's all about nourishing the body, but how you make that smoothie is what makes it delicious. And you have a trick too of how you make smoothies taste really good as well.
I just basically have a template. It's the easiest thing. I always do mixed greens, berries, because they're low glycemic. Um, but then I do things like avocado because I want the smoothie. I do water too. I don't do a lot of almond milk every now and then. But I also have like some powders that I put in there. I put in some MCT, some collagen. I know you put in electrolytes, like flavored
Yeah.
electrolytes.
Hmm.
Um, but that's basically, mine is just very basic. Every now and then I add things like cayenne pepper or sunflower seed butter, or, I mean, I add vanilla. One of my absolute favorites is a little bit of cream cheese with my berries, and then it becomes a cream and berries.
That's a great idea. I
And the
love
cream
that.
cheese is actually one of the foods allowed on a candida diet. So
That's great. I'm gonna try that. I have not actually done a smoothie with cream cheese, so I'm gonna have to try that.
oh yeah.
My other favorite one is cinnamon. Is kind of one of my ways to like mix it up and just bring an entirely different flavor. I'm a huge cinnamon fan.
Yeah, my template's always the same though. It's usually half an avocado, mixed greens, berries,
Yeah.
and my superfood. Of course, I put my superfood in there. But then I do like I use a certain collagen MCT powder shake.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I
then I
do.
just
I forget to mention I do a hemp oil as well that I get from a local grocery for some omegas and yeah.
but yeah, I
Perfect.
love my smoothies, but also I think everyone that knows me knows I'm about as lazy as you can be. So smoothies are actually the best and easiest way for me to get my nutrition because I don't have to chew.
Yes. The other thing that I love about them is that, when you're blending all of that good stuff up together, that it's kind of like it's pre-digested for you, right? It's all broken down. And so it's actually easier for the body to digest it and absorb those nutrients. So even someone who has had, maybe some digestive challenges or, I've had some people that have had parts of their intestines removed or colostomy bag, or right. There's so many different like variables, but a smoothie is a really, really simple way for almost anyone to get, a lot of really, really good nutrition in just in a small, easy to digest way. So I always love to share that too. It's like smoothies can be for anyone. My kids actually now they're making their own smoothies. That's a new thing. Like in this last week, they now will go and actually make their own smoothies, which is really
And how old are
exciting.
your kids?
7 and 8. So get the kids involved, right? Like it's really easy for them to operate a blender. That's like, and then they feel proud of themselves because they just made their breakfast for themselves, right? It's a really, really good alternative to them having cereal and orange juice and starting the day off like, if you're going to start the day off with that much sugar, at least have it be some fruit that is a whole food that the body can utilize a lot more than a processed sugar, right? That often is genetically modified. And so it's a really, really good way to start the day. And they get to kind of pick. So they'll just go pick whatever fruit they're going to put in there. I have them do like a mix of a little juice and almond milk because otherwise they'll fill it with juice. And you have to be careful. Like you still want to be careful with the sugar content, right? But it's a way to get the kids involved in like making their own healthy breakfast.
And I do want to just point out because I have been asked this a few times
Mhm.
where I've had a client finish, let's say the intestinal cleanse, and just say, so can I keep taking the superfood? And I know Becca and I both recommend all like every day.
Yes.
Don't go waste money on a multivitamin at the grocery store.
Mhm.
Don't waste money on these synthetic mineral supplements. This is your multivitamin mineral supplement, and it's one of the best, in my opinion, on the market.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. That's such a good way to look at it. Yes. We get that question often. So I completely forgot to mention it. I'm glad you brought it up as we'll get people ask us, what's your multivitamin? And we're like, oh no, it's superfood, which is actually a lot. It's just whole food, right? Whole superfoods, easy for the body to digest and utilize. And it gives you energy.
Well, and there's a lot of companies right now that are selling superfoods, and it's things like cacao or mushrooms and things like that. The one thing I liked about yours is we have the seaweeds, We have the things like alfalfa, spirulina, things along those lines that literally we're getting so many different herbs and plants that contain basically anything anybody, no matter where they live, needs.
Yes. Yeah. Love it. You
So
shared that.
what can somebody expect to see after doing a year calendar of the calendar cleanses?
Yeah, I mean, especially after completing all of the cleanses, right? Typically, most people will see results after just the first cleanse because when you cleanse the intestinal, it kind of takes this pressure off of the other organs and systems because when that intestinal tract isn't properly cleansed, it kind of backs up these other organs and systems as well. And so I would say most people see a benefit after just the intestinal cleanse, but definitely after you get through all of those cleanses, people just report feeling amazing. We've had people report better sleep patterns, obviously more energy, less bloating, less gas, less mood swings, improved concentration. And also, I've had people use it to kickstart weight loss because you can have that right like 5 to 20 pounds stuck. So even just doing some intestinal cleanses can really help kickstart a weight loss program as well. I used to have it be part of um, my weight loss program that we used to do. It helps support optimal digestion, right? I mean, really, the list goes on and on. So I would say you could take almost any health concern usually is related to some level of overload of toxicity. Like it's really just more simple than we make it out to be, I think.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it's just a very simple set of steps for us to clean out our body with your program.
Yeah.
I also have a brochure with the instructions on my website. If any of you are wanting, it's under my download section. It has the calendar that you can plug into. There's the store that you can order it if you're from far away. You can order your cleanses. I have a lot of areas where, especially like in my Facebook group, where you can go into the user guides or whatever they're called now on Facebook, and you can go through the cleanses and do it, get some support, things like that. Would
Love
you
it. What is your
recommend
website?
people
Share
wait?
that.
Huh?
Oh, I was going to say real quick, if you can share your website for everybody, that would be
Oh
great.
yeah, it's www.livingwithelevation.com. And you just click on clients and downloads is under there, and there's a lot of resources there. We have the LWE Academy, which has the nutrition class. It's called Eat for Better Health. There's a lot of just a lot of resources there for anyone who's wanting to get healthy from home, who doesn't have access to the resources, or they just don't want to work with somebody, want to do this on their own. And so there's a lot of resources there for people. Yeah, is there
Awesome.
anything else you would like to cover for the Cleanse and Nourish protocol that you guys have set up?
Well, I would just say we also have I know you have a support group on Facebook. There's also a group cleanse support group on Facebook that they're welcome to join. We do group cleanses so that people don't feel alone in doing them and they can do them at the same time with others. Because, we don't ever like to feel alone in anything. Our next intestinal cleanse starts April 11th. So if they want to kind of join that and just be a part of the group and do it all together, but if they're not in your group, I would definitely recommend they get in your group as well. And if they're interested in doing a cleanse, to just get with you and you can get them set up.
Yeah. And all of us are here to help. I mean, so our goal as naturopaths and holistic healers is just to get the resources out to all of you so you can start making those changes. Even if you start small, but one change can make a huge difference down the road. So, just always reach out to us and let us know if there's anything that we can do to help you get better.
Yes, absolutely. And they're very, very blessed to have you. So hopefully they will reach out to you and get started either on a personalized program or a cleanse, right? It could go
Yes.
either way.
Yes.
It doesn't have to just be a cleanse because if they have a specific concern they want to address right away, then they should get with you to do a personal program, right? So that they can
Yes.
address that specific concern right away. Or if you're just like, you know what, I feel like I could feel better and you just want to do a cleanse, then that's a really, really good place for just almost anyone to start.
Yep. Anything else?
No, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming and talking to us about your cleanses. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. And everyone else, have a beautiful rest of your day. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help you.
Absolutely.